Welcome, guests. Welcome to my second review of American Horror Story, Episode 2, titled Chutes and Ladders. This is for Season 5 for Hotel. So a spoiler warning, if you have not seen this episode, I recommend you go watch it before you watch my review. If you proceed to go on, enter at your own risk. So this was a fantastic episode. It wasn't as fast-paced and as exciting as the first episode, but I thought it was fantastic because we got to know the original owner of the hotel, who is Evan Peters, James Patrick March, and I think that this is his season. Oh, I'm loving him as James Patrick March. So this episode, at the beginning, we find out that the junkie who was killed by Sally and her little demon is still alive. He has been sewn inside of a mattress and makeshiftly stitched up. I don't know if he's the same person who pops out of the bed when the young Swedish girls come in last week's episode. It's possible he didn't look like it. Maybe she just likes sewing alive people into mattresses, but maybe that's Sally's thing. You just don't know because it never answers that, this episode. But the Swedish girls are definitely dead. Liz and Iris throw them down a chute that, I guess a laundry chute inside of the hotel, which hence the title Chutes and Ladders. Sally talks about the ladders part, and I'll get to that at the end of the episode because it's really awesome. Okay, so we see Alex, John's wife. She's a pediatrician, and she gets angry with the mom who does not vaccinate her child. He ends up getting the measles. Now, this mom, I don't know if anybody else out there noticed, but she is she's the actress who was the main character in Stephen King's Sleepwalkers. Madeline Amchuk or something such as that. I wish I should have Googled her before I started this video, but I thought that was fantastic. There's a lot of Stephen King and some Dario Argento references in this episode. In this one, at the beginning of the episode, John wakes up in his hotel room, and there's Dario Argento style Suspiria lighting in his room. And I thought that was very awesome. It's like an homage to SK and to Dario Argento in these episodes. I'm loving that. John, when he wakes up, he sees Holden, and he runs after him. He doesn't catch him, so to speak, but he does meet Sally for the first time, which I just wanted to scream at the screen. Run away from Sally, John! Run away from her! She keeps a demon in her pocket. They talk at the bar, and Sally talks about how she used to be a poet, and a lady named Patti Smith sung with her, I guess, one time, and then dropped Sally afterwards. But Sally describes that her drugs is her ladder to heaven, which I thought was an interesting analogy. And she asks John, when was the last time he got really drunk? Because for him, getting drunk is like his ladder to heaven. So he explains to her that 5 years ago, he answered a call where a guy looked like he killed his whole family. But upon closer inspection, you saw that the guy did not kill his family. He accidentally smothered them with carbon monoxide using a generator inside their house when the power went out. And the father, being upset that he accidentally murdered his family, he shot himself in distress. Now, there's one thing about this scene that I thought was awesome, and maybe I'm looking too much into, but one of the little girls who had passed away was clutching a copy of Moby Dick. And if you've ever read Moby Dick, you would know that it's kind of indicative to the storyline, what seems to be going on in American Horror Story right now. Captain Ahab gets his leg taken, and he's got this vendetta against the whale Moby Dick. And it basically puts him down a horrible path, in order to find revenge. And he loses himself to find this revenge. And it seems like the same thing is happening to John. Instead of his leg being taken like Captain Ahab's was, his son was taken. And it seems like John is on a perpetual quest to find out, or to find the person who took his son and who killed him, because they have accepted the fact that they think little Holden is dead. So I thought that was the irony there was just fantastic. And like I said, maybe I'm reading too much into this episode, but that's why I'm putting up these posts, because I see these things and I want to know if you guys think the same thing I do. Am I looking too much into this, or does it really seem like John is taking a path such as what was taken down in Moby Dick? So just a food for thought. Anyway, John says after the event happened, after he went there to that crime scene, he said the whole thing disturbed him so badly that he stayed away from his family for 2 days. And he basically stayed in a drunken stupor. And then after that 2 days was over, he went to his family, apologized to them, and said that he would take them out to the beach and, make it up to them for being away. And ironically, that was the day that Holden was taken. So we got a little bit more back information on what John's life was like before Holden was taken, that he worked a lot, and it seemed like it kind of kept him away from his wife and his kids, and possibly his wife resented him for that. Now, John gets a package at the police station. He thinks it's a bomb, but it's not. It's from the Hotel Cortez, and inside the box is an Academy Award covered in dried blood. John has it sent to the lab, and it comes back as the blood on the statue, on the Oscar, matches one of his victims, Gambini, something such as that. Excuse me. So John puts it together that the past couple of murders that he's been investigating match the 10 Commandments to the Bible. And so here comes the 10 Commandments killer. Now, John goes back to the hotel and he has a conversation with Iris. And Iris tells him that, look, in order for you to know what's going on in here, you have to open your mind. And you have to know about the person who built this place. And that's when she tells him about Evan Peters. It's his season 5, as James Patrick March. Basically, James March was the owner of the hotel. He built it. He was a horrible, sadistic man, and he built the hotel so that way he could kill and hide people at his will. The Countess was his wife, and she sometimes liked to watch, which, judging by the way she likes to kill presently, that does not surprise me. Anyway, Miss Evers is like his accomplice. She is his little minion, and before James kills one of his victims is praying, and he tells him, look, prayer won't work for you. My father was a religious man. He went to church every Sunday, but he was a mean son of a gun who beat the hell out of me. And so the man who's whispering a prayer says to James March, look, if you don't have God in your heart, you'll never find peace. And March tells him, so I guess in order to find peace, I must kill God. And I think that was a big piece of this puzzle that a lot of people might have missed. And I think I'm going to do a video on this afterwards. It comes out, too, that James is the person who started the 10 Commandments killing. Now, he's obviously not doing it now. Maybe a copycat has taken over in his place. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that. But James does definitely say that he is the person who started the 10 Commandments killings. And I think that is not awesome, I should say, to the storyline, yes. Because if James's family, if his father hated religion so badly, and James feels like he has to kill God in order to find peace, and he started the 10 Commandments killings, did he start them because he feels that that's what's going to get him into his afterlife? I don't know. So I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to think about it a little bit more, do a little research, and I will be having that video posted here soon. So please look for it. And don't forget to just subscribe. Excuse me. My mind is going too fast, faster than my mouth. Don't forget to subscribe because you get a notification instantly as soon as I put up a new post. So after this happens with James, it tells you the story how the cops come and catch him, and he kills Miss Evers and himself so that way he won't have to be caught. Now, room 64 is confirmed to have been March's office and the heart of the hotel, which is the room that Detective Lowe is staying in. So that's why such crazy things are happening in his room. That was James March's office, and that's where he committed a lot of brutal, nasty deaths. And I mean, again, I applaud Evan Peters. I think, again, that season 5 for him is his season. It seems like it was written specifically to make him shine. Because I think he shined, obviously, in Murder House and Asylum. He was kind of thrusted aside, though, in Coven and Freak Show. And I'm very, very happy to see him in the limelight again this season. I think he's spectacular. Now, let's see. There are 3 vampire boys and 1 vampire girl living in the Village of the Damn World here in Hotel Cortez. And they're still being punished by playing Tetris rather than getting an Xbox or something like that. I mean, the Countess has loads of money. You'd think she'd get them an Xbox, for goodness sakes. Now, their blood, I noticed, is being drained and given to the Countess. So I wonder if the kids have special blood that tastes better to her or something such as that. I mean, the Countess doesn't really seem too discriminative against blood, but I do see that she likes her fine wine, so to speak. So I thought that was cool that she kind of drinks their blood in a way. I don't know if that's why she keeps them. But the whole episode is focused around a fashion show that Will Drake is putting on to bring the hotel some publicity. His son, Lachlan, hangs out with Scarlett, and he asks her if she wants to see something awesome. And he takes her downstairs, I guess, to the basement, and he shows her a bunch of these glass coffins that are placed in a swimming pool that is not filled. And she sees her little brother Holden inside of one of them. And she kind of freaks out, I guess, and leaves the hotel, but she goes back to it. And she finds Holden in his little prison room playing Tetris. And I just wish she would have taken a brush to his hair, to be honest with you. He's such a cute little boy, and his little white hair was going everywhere. It really needed to be brushed. And she takes a picture of him because she wants to prove to her parents that Holden is alive. And as soon as she takes the picture, Holden moves in to bite her. And unfortunately, the picture comes out a little blurry. So when Scarlett goes home to show her parents that he's alive, it's difficult to see his face in the picture. Alex doesn't seem like she believes Scarlett, but John does. And he has seen Holden in the hotel before this point. So he says he doesn't believe her, but I think he is starting to understand that maybe Holden really is inside the hotel, especially now that Scarlett seems to feel that he is as well. Now, I believe that is it. Aside from, I apologize, Tristan. This is where we get our beautiful Finn as Tristan Duffy. We are introduced to Claudia, who is a snobby Vogue, I guess, fashion reporter from Vogue. They're coming to the hotel to put on a big fashion show, and Tristan is one of the models. He's a drug addict, and he has a controversial walk in the Hotel Cortez, but the Countess seems to be infatuated with him. And after he walks off the stage, Will Drake kicks him out of the hotel, but instead of leaving, Tristan goes to rob the residents and to see if they have any drugs. He gets a little lost in the hotel, and he meets James Patrick March, who has this weird conversation with Tristan about, I guess, reaching down to find out who you really are on the inside, because you can't live unless you acknowledge who you really are. Something like that. It was a great conversation, and again, I highly encourage everybody to watch the episode. So after he leaves James March, he gets pulled into the hotel by the Countess, and she turns him into a vampire. She tells him basically that she kind of explains her illness. So again, this is why I think people should go back and read it. It's not detailed or anything, but it's better coming from Lady Gaga's mouth, I think, than mine. She's so hot. It's a great scene. She tells him that he can do anything as long as he isn't caught and he cannot fall in love. She says she was born in 1904 and her maker is dead at this point in the hotel story. And she dumps Donovan for Tristan, and that pisses Donovan off. Makes his mom happy, but it pisses Donovan off. So again, that is my review for this episode. It was directed by Bradley Buecker, and it was written by Tim Minear. I think these people are fantastic. I always like to keep track of who writes and directs these episodes because I think it really, I think it matters. Thank you all very much for watching my review. Please thumbs up, gives me help. Hit subscribe to get all of my posts as soon as they arrive. And please leave comments, questions, comments, anything like that. Please leave them underneath. I love talking to everybody who is just as much as a horror story junkie as I am. But again, I don't think I am that much of a junkie where I want Sally to sew me into a mattress. Thank you all very much for watching. And again, if you have any problems, please see Miss Evers. She